I'd like to call the Transportation Committee meeting to order, December the 15th. That everyone present except Councilman Benny Johnson. He's working. Councilman Cloyd, would you please lead us in the invocation, follow the pledge?
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for bringing our community safe through the weather we had last week and the snow. We want to ask you for this weather we have in the night to bring everybody home safe and give us guidance through the season and let us not forget why we celebrate this season. We thank you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item, please sign in with Secretary Ms. Liz, please. Move into number 4, Road Department Monthly Report. Ms. Jackie.
For our monthly report, we completed vacuuming 1,925 feet of culverts and digging 16,804 feet of ditches. We cut 83 miles of Parish Road and 28 miles of State Road, and we have sprayed 7 miles of roadway in the month of November. And that concludes our report if you have any questions.
Any questions on the monthly report? No, we'll move into number 5, Road Project Status Update Report. Jackie?
For the status report, I wanted to mention first, at the top of this report, DPW has completed 9 projects in 2008. We've listed them here. This list represents $13,500,000 worth of work. It included 2.5 miles of widening, 60 roads were rehabbed, totaling 39 miles. We striped 43 miles of roadway and 181 stop bars. This list also totals a net change order of negative $574,000. For an update on our current projects, Roddy Road Bridge replacement, the acquisition is underway as planned. The new team members from SJB have told me that April 09 is the latest expected date to have all the right-of-way acquired. West Worthy Road widening is also in right-of-way acquisition, and at this time there are 8 parcels remaining to be acquired. For the Roddy Road widening 621 to 931, that acquisition has just begun. It's approximately 10 to 15% complete. Mere Road Bridge replacement, actually this sheet is now outdated because the structure was delivered this week. So we have the Mere Road structure, and we've confirmed with Bill Rue that it is perfectly acceptable for us to install that structure as planned. Once we get past the holidays and we're back to full crews, that's our high priority project for January. On the 2004 Intersection Improvement Program, that is another project beginning right-of-way acquisition. We're going to advertise that in January for the selection committee. 932 at 933 intersection improvement is the same situation. Ready for right-of-way acquisition, will be advertised in January. The in-house road reconstruction program that has 38 roads, we're probably 10%, 5 to 10% complete. It just began in November and started with Miller Road by the fire station. The 2007 intersection widening project, Phase 1 is underway right now. They just finished marking utilities and staking out that project for the widening. Phase 2 received DOTD permits, and Volkert is working on that right-of-way acquisition, which is 30% complete at this point. Phase 3, which is the turn lane at Highway 429 onto 431, DOTD is executing that contract because they bid it. They are telling me next week they should have it executed, this week or next week. And Phase 4, which is Highway 42, right turn lane onto 929, we submitted the DOTD permit. LA 431 at Gold Place, Evans Graves completed that stage 0, received comments from DOTD, and then addressed those comments back to DOTD on November 25th. That concludes our road project update. If you all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions, Ms. Jackie?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Lambert?
Yeah, Miss Jackie, on the turn lane on Roddy and Airline, I see you said that we're going to be right-of-way consultants advertising in January.
That's correct.
You know about when construction maybe will be started on that? How long? What kind of process, I guess?
I have learned that
time-wise?
right-of-way acquisition is unknown, and it depends on how many landowners are involved and how agreeable they are to cooperate with the acquisition team.
I guess in this section, it's probably not no more than 2 or 3 parcels. So,
We're
correct?
anticipating a few.
Yeah.
And just so everyone knows, Kim Freelou and myself met with DOTD on Friday to get that scope of work for right-of-way acquisition, make sure we have all of our ducks in a row, so when we advertise, we properly plan the scope of work.
Okay. So hopefully spring to summer maybe?
Summer, I'm optimistic it'll be summer, but
Okay.
don't hold me to that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Councilman Kluwer?
Yeah, Jackie, on the projects completed in '08, up at the top of the page, what you said you had a net what?
Negative change order for all of those projects was $574,994.
Good deal, thank you.
Okay, we'll move into number 6, certificate of substantial completion for the 2007 RC 02 road project. Jackie?
We would ask that you approve the substantial completion for the RC02 road project. This was our overlay project that we completed last month. We have done a final inspection, and we have also prepared a punch list for this project, which was very minor.
So moved, Mr.
Motion
Chairman.
by Councilman Todd Lambert. Second by Councilman Kluwer. Any other discussion? None, motion passed. Number 7, change order number 2 for 2007 RC 01 in the amount of $397,067.27. That's a reduction.
Yes, sir. It's a negative $397,067.27, and DPW is asking your approval.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert. Second by Councilman Chris Lohr. Any other discussion? None, motion passed. Number 8, I would like to see if we could table this till the next transportation meeting. I'm doing a little work with the administration on the change order on this.
I move that we table it to next
Moved by
meeting.
Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Chris Lohr. Thank you. I'm sorry. Number 9, Cannon Road Improvement Research Report. Jackie?
Based on last month's meeting, I proposed to come up with a striping and signage plan for Cannon Road. What you will see in this packet is $3,748 of signage and striping, including yellow warning flashing beacons at certain locations where we've identified the ditch section alongside of the road to be severe. I've included a drawing where we would propose to put those beacons in the 2 worst areas and a sample of what the beacon looks like. To give you an idea, it's an $88 beacon. It runs with a solar panel and 4D batteries. For this minor cost, we could absorb $3,748 into our current '09 sign budget, put rumble strips down at the intersections, and try to improve the clarity and the signage along the roadway to help the roadway. I will add that last month we talked about 31 crashes. I received those crash reports. When you sift through the 31 crashes from '06 to present, there are only 17 of those actually on Cannon. When you sift through those 17, 2 of them involved slapped mirrors, and 6 of them involved single car exited the road into the ditch. So when you break it down to what, there were several rear end at the red lights, or stop signs, excuse me, and several when people turn on the 44 left turning type movements. So when I analyzed all of the data, it appeared 8 crashes are directly contributed to the narrow roadway. And I will say some of those did involve impaired drivers. So I'm not saying we don't have a problem. I just was asked last month to clarify the crashes, and that's what the data showed when I broke it all down to what type of problem we're looking at. It scared me to say 31 accidents, but it does appear better than it first did when I just got a report of 31 crashes.
Thank you.
So we're asking that we move forward with the signage and striping at this point.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert,
I'll second.
second by Councilman Kluwat. Any discussion? Discussion, Chris Law.
Question, the visual warning stripe. Is that the rumble strips involved in that as well?
That's right. There are 3 strips similar to what we put down at Parker Road in 929. I've included in here a little data. That helps on rural roads, stop controlled intersections, preventing or decreasing rear end accidents. The data from the National Research Board said it could be 40 to 80% reduction in crashes just from having those rumble strips. For such a minimal cost, I thought, although that's not our main goal with the narrow road, there were rear end accidents, it would not hurt us to put those down at O'Neill and at Roddy.
I think it's great. I was just curious. I mean, I was thinking about if those would be valuable on other highways. I mean, I know 42 is a state highway, but before you enter the curve right there, the S curve, I was wondering if, I mean, there's only $375. That would be a pretty cheap thing to do to see if we couldn't draw some more attention to slowing down or, you know, going through that curve. Just didn't know if that's possible on a state road, but it just jumped out at me. If you could research that and let
I
me
will
know.
definitely research that with DOTD.
Great.
Good idea.
Parish President.
I think we need to look at several locations. Doing what Miss Jackie is doing here on Cannon. One area I'd like you to look at is Merritt Evans and Joseph Ario Road. And if anybody else has any roads, we would need to do the research and go over them and look at them, especially those that you know, we've had fatalities in the past, and we've tried to get DOTD on that intersection to put a 4-way stop sign or do something, and they still don't think the data's high enough, but I do. I think it's very, very dangerous intersection, and we need to either mark it better, put lights, do something there to let people know that they have to stop. So,
If I might add to that, they are, in addition to yellow warning beacons, recently at a transportation assistance program meeting, it was brought to my attention they're starting to install red flashing beacons as a precursor to a stop sign. And it's the same cost as our yellow beacon, $88 per beacon. So maybe we could try those at a couple locations and see if it's effective.
Okay.
Good idea. Councilman Johnson, you had any discussion?
Miss Jackie, we're on Cannon Road, I'm assuming. We talking about doing the striping, correct?
Yes, sir.
What's the width of the lane going to be, or the lanes going to be on that road once the striping's completed?
We aren't going to stripe longitudinal. We aren't going to stripe edges because the road right now varies around 17 feet wide. And the manual for uniform controlled traffic devices says you need 18 feet of width to put edge striping, bare minimum. So therefore, we do not feel like we should stripe longitudinal stripes on a road that doesn't meet the minimum criteria.
And that's kind of my point, what I was wanting to get at. If we're not going to meet the criteria for the road, whether we do the signage or keeping it 2-lane, or we're not going to meet it doing it one way, what's the lesser of the two evils as far as going one way? I know it's not necessarily what the folks that live along that road want, and we can't meet the criteria for the one way, but traffic close, passing that close to each other, going head on, and I know the speed limit's about not as low as we can get it, but safe, lower safety we can enforce it, as opposed to keeping it as it is and then one way it to where traffic's only going one direction on that road. What's the safer of the two?
Obviously, our best case scenario would to make the road the width it needs to be. But DPW can't recommend to make it a one-way road if it doesn't meet criteria for one-way road, which is the same reason why we can't stripe it if it doesn't meet the minimum width for striping. Our fear is if we would recommend one-way against the national criteria, that would potentially open us up to some type of liability. And I understand the concern with the minimum width, but I wouldn't want to recommend to change it to something that doesn't meet criteria either. And obviously, it's, you know, y'all's decision to change that, but DPW can't recommend to change it to something that doesn't meet criteria.
Right. Saw that.
Right.
So, okay.
There's no other discussion. Any objection? If none, motion passed. Number 10, three-way stop at Red Oak Drive and Black Oak Drive, DPW.
This stop sign was requested by Councilman Pat Bell, and DPW has no objection to it.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kluwat. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? None. Motion passed. Number 11, three-way stop at White Oak and Black Oak Drive, DPW.
This stop sign, three-way stop, again, was requested by Councilman Bell, and again, DPW has no objection.
So moved, Mr.
Moved
Chairman.
by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Johnson. Any other discussion? If none, motion passed. Number 12, three-way stop at Tiggy DePlessis and DePlessis Road, DPW.
We are, DPW has put this on the agenda. We are working on improvements to that intersection due to some concerns by landowners in that area. We are asking that you approve a three-way stop there. Hopefully, with the improvements made to the curve and the three-way stop, we can help reduce crashes at that location. So we're asking your approval.
Moved by
on it.
Councilman Benny Johnson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kluwat. Any objection? None, motion passed. Number 13.
Motion adjourned. Mr.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert to adjourn, second by Councilman Kluwat. Thank you.
Traffic.